Good morning, children. Today we are beginning with a detective fiction from our textbook Vistas, EVANS tries an O level. The theme of the story, EVANS tries an O level, is a clever escape planned by a convict. This detective fiction is written by Norman Cohn Dexter, who was an English crime writer known for his Inspector Morse series of novels and adapted as a television series, Inspector Morse. His characters have spawned a sequel series, Louis, and a prequel series, Endeavour. In 1996, Dexter won a McCavity Award for this short story. Before we begin the fiction, let's learn something about the characters of the story. The most important character, as discussed in introduction, is Evans, who is a quite sort of a person not given to tantrums and does not believe in violence. In the Oxford prison, he regularly participates in various functions and is a bit of an exhibitionist. He is a congenital kleptomaniac and has been sent to jail on earlier occasions also. The next is, we can see the Oxford prison here in the image, and where the governor, who is an officer of average intelligence but unfortunately he overestimates himself, is there. Rather than taking extra precautions like budging the cell of Evans, etc., he should have tried to understand Evans. But still, let's see what happens and how Evans outsmarts the governor in the story. According to my text Vistas, the fiction begins on page number 70. Evans tries an O level by Cohn Dexter. Should criminals in prison be given the opportunity of learning and education? So there's a question mark here. Let's see what you decide after learning the story. Dramatis personae are the Secretary of the Examination Board, the Governor of HM Prison, Oxford, James Evans, a prisoner, Mr. Jackson, a prison officer, Mr. Stephens, a prison officer, the Reverend S. McCleary, an invigilator, Mr. Carter, Detective Superintendent, Mr. Bell, Detective Chief Inspector. All precautions have been taken to see to it that the O-level German examination arranged in the prison for Evans does not provide him with any means of escape. So, let's see, Evans does the jailbreak or not. It was in early March when the Secretary of the Examinations Board received the call from Oxford Prison. It's a slightly unusual request, Governor, but I don't see why we shouldn't try to help. Just the one fellow, you say? So it seems that the Governor has requested the Secretary of the Examination Board that one person wants to write the O-level German examination. O-level, children, means the basic examination. That's it. Chap called Evans started night classes in the O-level German last September. Says he is dead keen to get some sort of academic qualification. So Governor says to the secretary that there is a man in the name of Evans in the prison who would like to write the German O-level examination. So for him, some night classes were also arranged last September. Is he any good? The secretary asked. He was the only one in the class, so you can say he had individual tuition all the time. Really, would you have cost him a packet if he had been outside? So, if for this examination he would have prepared outside the prison, then lot of money would have been taken from him for the tuitions. But as he is a fellow of the prison. Therefore, free of cost education was provided to him. Tuition lessons were given to him. Well, let's give him a chance, shall we? That's jolly kind of you. What exactly is the procedure now? The governor asked. Oh, don't worry about that. I will be sending you all the forms and stuff. What's his name, you say? Evans. Yes, James Roderick Evans. It sounded rather grand. So, a big name of a common prisoner. Just one thing, Governor. He is not a violent sort of fellow, is he? I don't want to know his criminal record or anything like that. But no, there's no record of violence. Quite a pleasant sort of chap. A pleasant fellow he is. They tell me. Bit of a card. Card means, children, an unusual or amusing person. So he's an amusing person, really. One of the stars at Christmas concert. Imitations. Like he does imitations. You know, the sort of thing, Mike Yarwood stuff. So similar to him, he does imitations. No, he is just a congenial kleptomaniac. Congenial means, children, present from a form of birth, like of a disease or a medical condition, you can say, is congenial. So by birth, he has this disease or problem of kleptomania. And kleptomaniac is a person suffering from a mental condition that causes a strong urge to steal. So he is a person who does stealing by birth because he is in a habit or in a medical condition to do so. He is a victim of this disease, kleptomania. That's all. The governor was tempted to add something else, but he thought better of it. So he thought, no, I should not add, because he thought he would look after that particular side of things himself. So there is some problem other than kleptomania with Evans. But governor feels that that problem he himself would tackle. Presumably, said the secretary, you can arrange a room where, no problem. He is in a cell on his own. So he is staying all alone in his cell. If you have no objections, he can sit in the exam in there. So if the board secretary doesn't have any problem regarding it, then he can sit in his own cell and write examination from there. That's fine. And we would easily get one of the parsons from the St. Mary's Max to invigilate if that's possible or if that can be arranged. So St. Mary's Max, from there, the parson is going to come because he will be assigned the duty of invigilation. Fine, yes, they seem to have a lot of parsons there. So, parson is a Protestant clergyman, children. So, as St. Mary's Max Church have a lot of parsons, so one of them they can send to become the invigilator. The two men chuckled good-naturedly. Chuckled means laughed quietly, good-naturedly, and the secretary had a final thought. At least there is one thing, you shouldn't have much trouble keeping him incommunicado, should you? Incommunicado means not being allowed to communicate with other people. Children, the invigilator who comes into the examination hall for duty, his first and the foremost duty is not to disturb on any account the examinee. And therefore, you must have seen that the examinees, they cannot stand very close to you while you are writing the exam. So they don't have to communicate or they don't have to unnecessarily interrupt the examinee other than whatever is required. So here the writer says that they both were laughing, and because they were thinking of choosing a parson from St. Mary's Max Church to invigilate, they thought that it would be better to keep over a criminal this kind of invigilator, because in any condition An invigilator of this kind has anything to do with a criminal, so they will not have to see whether the invigilator is helping out the examinee to write the exam or communicating anything to him. The governor chuckled politely once more, reiterated his thanks, so repeated again and again his thanks to the secretary of the board for providing the opportunity to Evans for writing exam, and slowly cradled the phone. Cradled means put the receiver of the phone on the instrument. Evans, he said.